Hey, it's Adewale here again, and in this video, I'd like to introduce you to the silo tab, the silo module of private LLM, and to help you get an idea of what the silo is about. The goal of the silo is to help you create um, a lot of content that relates to each other um, in a way that makes them form like a powerful unit that forces the search engines to see your site. So they call them silos, really. And the idea of a silo is that you have a main keyword, that you have lots of different articles around it. So it's created in a way that helps Google to see your site as an authority site. Um, and just kind of show you that this works. Now, so I got a question. What's the difference between a site that uses artificial intelligence and yet Google loves the site's content and ranks the site's content, and a site that uses artificial intelligence but then bombs and Google hates the site's content and pushes it completely out of the SERPs? What's the main difference? The main difference is that you are using a system that allows Google to see that your content is useful. Now, the irony of AI content is this: most people think, oh, I don't want my content to seem like it's AI, and as such, they try to disguise the content as much as possible. I found very earlier on that it actually doesn't matter if the content looks like it's AI written. What matters is that the content is still useful and content is still engaging enough to keep people on your site. So I'm going to show you that it works. And to show that it works, I'm going to show you a number of keywords um, that my site is ranking for. And why is this important? About 2 or 3 years, roughly 2 or 3 years ago, I can't remember exactly when, um, I was mostly nowhere to be found in Google. My site was nowhere to be found. And that was because roughly around 10 years ago, I did quite a lot of black hat um, ranking SEO strategies. I didn't know it was black hats. It's just until when the very first Google algorithm um, storm hits, and all my sites just got completely demolished on the web. And for almost 9 years, I couldn't get my rankings back. Then when the AI started to come into the scene, I started using AI stuff to write my articles. Um, and roughly around the middle to the end of last year, Google's algorithm, which was like usefulness algorithm that I think they are, started to rank my site very, very heavily. Right, so these are a number of websites, and just kind of using the silo formula, because I created a number of articles around the issue of trauma, and they've all been ranking very well. So they're either on the first or second page of Google, and sometimes the first item in the SERPs. So family manipulating you. The idea of family manipulating you, it seems like something that will be quite popular and should not be able to rank a small website. My website is about 200 pages at the moment, and yet just because of the process, I'm ranking here at number 2 or number 3, you could say, for family manipulating you. You could do a test yourself as well. Family manipulating you, I'm ranking here, and trauma induced jealousy, I'm number 1. Um, these are all AI written content that has not been disguised at all. All I just did was make sure it was useful. This is childhood trauma and adult issues. I'm right there. Number three, reclaiming your individuality. I'm right here, number one. I wouldn't have thought I could achieve that for reclaiming your individuality because I thought that was a very tough one. But my psych ranks at number one here. Everyone is against you. That was another one that I thought I wouldn't perhaps rank much. So I think I'm on page two of that. Um, dissociation versus zoning out. I'm on number two. Raised on survival. I'm number one. I'm such a failure. I'm on page one. Coping with toxic siblings. I think on this one, I'm perhaps on page. I'm on page one. Yeah, I'm also on page one. And as you can see, I'm using the incognito browser to show you that this stuff works. And so there's so many pages on my site that rank heavily using the process that has been baked into the silo. And here's the silo now. So the idea of the silo then is that you're going to find a seed word that you want to build a number of articles around. So you place your seed word in here. I'll suggest that the seed word should not be a one word keyword, maybe two word keyword to about 5 word keywords. Um, so if we, I'm thinking of one. Emotional vulnerability. Trying to use something that will create content that I would use later on. Right. So you want to be at least maybe 2 words to 5 words to get the best out of this. So now what this is going to do is going to depending on the number you put here. I usually put 5 to 20 or 20. So it's going to five in this case, 5 keywords. If you put if you put 100, it's going to find 100 keywords. Yeah. If you put 1,000, it's going to find 1,000 keywords, and then write 1,000 articles. Right. So I put five keywords, and so it's going to find 5 keywords that are relevant to emotional vulnerability and will rank heavily for emotional vulnerability. Uh, to to actually load my model. So you got your five keywords that are related to emotional vulnerability. In other words, if someone is interested in emotional vulnerability, they're most likely going to be interested in emotional exposure, vulnerable emotions, our self awareness, coping mechanism, and mental health. Um, and so, what this is going to be doing is it's going to be writing on these keywords in relation to emotional vulnerability. So, it's not just writing purely about mental health, for example, in that place where it has mental health, he's going to be writing around the concept of emotional vulnerability around mental health, or write on the concept of emotional vulnerability around coping mechanisms. So in this case, if you have a whole 20 keywords, you can see how you are writing about everything around that keyword. So if you have the time and the patience to go through this process, you could literally write on any topic in your niche and write quite a lot of keywords to win above other bigger companies and organizations that have written around that keyword. So at the moment, you might be thinking that nothing is happening, it's just being quiet. But to know that something is happening, all you just have to do is look at the server and you see that the server is running. So you look at the server and you can see that the server is running. Um, I'm going to be implementing a progress label on this module soon. So the article is this module is going to then write the article. At the moment, it's writing about 3,000 words per each um, keyword. A future updates will implement where you can reduce the number of words per keyword. So instead of writing 3,000 per keyword, you could write 1,000, for example. So in this case, it would be 1,000 word for each one. But for now, you could still take the 3,000 words and divide it by two if you wanted, and use it to make two articles, each one to make two articles. Otherwise, my suggestion would be set it, leave it, do other things. If you've got a good enough computer, you could carry on doing other activities on your computer or getting other work done, and just leave it to kind of write through the topics, which is what I'm going to do now. And so that's all you have to do with the silo. You just need to know that you have a good um, first keyword. And then, again, as I said, it's got to be either 2 words to 5 words keywords. So the long tail keywords. And those tend to do best. If you go over 5, it will still write and still work, but there's a tendency to dilute the the keywords you're going to be writing around. So just be mindful about that. So there you go. That's the silo. Next, we're going to be looking at the one-click article writer. The reason I've included the one-click article writer, many of the fans were wanting um, a module that could write just one article alone rather than just writing multiple like this does, so that they could specify the heading they want to write around and make it more niche specific. So we're going to be looking at that in the next video.